Welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Traveler. I'm Steve Glenn.
I'm Paul Glenn.
Hey, every week on Tuesday at 10:30, we post an email called the Weekly Traveler that goes to 100,000 people. And we follow that up with this podcast so that you can listen and watch all the cool things going on in the travel industry. Today, Paul's one of my favorite days.
Okay.
During the month of January, we go through the top travel predictions for the year 2025. Today, we're going through predictions 16 through 30. This is the second set. Last week, we went through 1 through 15.
You can go check that out if you missed it on YouTube under Executive Travel. So changed up from prior. You can just go to YouTube and search out Executive Travel if you missed last week's first 15.
Of course, the center of the universe on the web is executivetravel.com, and center of the universe for travel is 1212 O Street in Lincoln, Nebraska. Thanks for joining us. Number 16 on this week's predictions for 2025. 2025 is the year of free agency for elite travels. Paul, I'm tired that I can't even get upgraded, and I'm a 1K member. You're a 1K member. How many people are on a wait list?
There were 70.
70 people. People are saying, I'm fed up, guys. If the airlines aren't smart enough to know that the reason we are is to get upgraded and get the little perks, then we're going to do free agency. I'll go fly on Delta, right? I'll go on somebody that will end up paying for it, but will end up...
Well, but there's potential positives that come from that too, because you might end up paying a little bit less because you aren't stuck with
agent.
One carrier. You can go shop it versus, they kind of have you trapped if you want to get those benefits historically. But now the benefits are just not there.
Number 17, government will add so much taxes to airfare that sometimes the taxes are more than the airfares. You won't believe this, Paul. Looked for a Frankfurt, Germany to Dublin, Ireland, found a $55 airfare with $84 in taxes. Mm-hmm. It costs more for the taxes than the airfare. That is crazy. Number 18, this is funny. Now, don't get mad at me. I'm having a little fun here. Number 18, AARP will add a new chapter of baby boomer flight attendants. There's some people that are my age with more gray hair than me doing flight attendant work today, and sometimes I want to have them sit in my seat so I can help them. But hey, let's have a little fun. There's a lot of silver hair now in those flight attendants, so hopefully this probably isn't the way to say it, but I did. Okay, number 19 for the top travel predictions for 2025. Train travel is back. Now, in the U.S., it's on the East Coast, it's doing well. In the Midwest and West Coast, not so well. But in Europe, it is the way to travel. If you're going city center to city center, do it with a train.
Yeah, I just had one when we drove to Florence here a couple weeks back, and the parking was 45 euros for 2 hours.
In Florence.
So
you should have taken the train.
The train, which would have been an hour and a half train ride, so it would have saved some time and energy as well. I could have bought all three of us train tickets for less than what parking cost.
Yeah, so look at the train if you're going to Europe for sure. Number 20 on this week's edition of the Weekly Traveler, the top 2025 travel predictions for the year. This is fun. It will be cheaper to cruise than to stay in assisted living, Paul.
It is.
Can you believe it? Now, this is a repeat from past years, but it's so the math is so amazing. A 7-day cruise can cost as low as $75 a day. Mm-hmm. Okay, living in an assisted living center is $150 to $250.
We just went through this with one of our team members, and I know it was well over $200 a day, $6,000 something per month.
Yeah, I mean, you can do in a cruise, and you could actually pay for a nurse to stay in the other cabin.
Get some entertainment, you get your meals included. Yeah, much better way to go.
Hey, that's funny.
So when are we booking your cruise?
Oh, sure, getting rid of me. You can't get rid of me that easy. All right, number 21 on this week's edition of the Weekly Traveler. The dollar has risen to new heights versus the euro, and travel to Europe will be the bargain of the decade in 2025. It's like $1.03 to the dollar, and a year ago it was $1.10, and then $1.15, and then several years ago it was $1.20. So, ladies and gentlemen, the bargain this year is Europe, 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 and you want to take advantage of that. Number 22. forget about selfie sticks. It's drones, drones, drones.
I don't know which one I like better.
Uh,
Selfie sticks are annoying, but for those people that need to get that perfect angle, let them do their thing.
Hey, for the grandkids this year, I bought this for Titus and Amos. I bought them a DJI Neo,
Okay.
which is a little handheld. It launches from your hand. It circles around you. If you walk down, it follows you.
Huh.
You don't even have to know what you're doing. And these things will do all these beautiful pictures. So it's kind of fun.
I just worry it's the privacy thing. Who's going to be upset about having this drone following, whether it's following you around or not? It's likely you could be getting somebody in a picture that doesn't want to be in that picture. So.
Or shoots it down,
Uh-huh,
like in New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
Hey, and number 23 on this week's weekly travel alert for the 2025 travel predictions, sponsored by Executive Travel. Multi-generational family traveling is exploding, Paul. We're seeing, here's grandpa and grandma taking sons and daughters, taking grandsons and granddaughters, and they're saying we're not going to buy things, we're going to invest in experiences. And you have this massive baby boomer generation with all this disposable income. And so now we're seeing, even to the bowl games, we saw multi-generations being taken to the bowl games. In Italy, we're seeing it all over to fill our villa, right? Is multi-generations. Let's take the family there. And so you're seeing more and more family travel.
Making memories.
Making
that's
memories.
what it's about. Rather than leaving money to the next generation, leave the memories with them.
All right, number 24 reads, Overtourism now requires a plan. If you visit a major tourist, you can't just go to Rome anymore. You better have a plan. So here's my 3-step plan. Ready? Travel off-season and avoid holidays. Because if you go full season, it's miserable. There's people, the sidewalks are full, it's hot. So go off-season. Number 2, rise early and hit the hot spots before 10 a.m. Because a lot of the tourists, especially in Europe, they sleep in.
Yeah.
And even locally. And number 3, purchase reservations for timed entry into top. So if you're going to the Sistine Chapel, buy a reservation. If you're going in Florence to see the David,
get a ticket.
Get
Buy
a ticket.
Yeah.
Don't wait in line. Just buy a ticket, and then you can walk right in. So those are my plans to deal with over-tourism. Number 25. This is fun, Paul. You'll have more fun walking in a Walmart parking lot than cruising to Nassau. We talked about the 30,000 people that get off the ship in Nassau, right?
Yep.
And it's just miserable. Standing in line, like salmon going up a stream into Nassau. And so...
Well, Nassau also had some crime issues here this last year as well. So
Yeah. So I'm telling... Once I was in Nassau thinking, why in the world am I here? So I thought the Walmart parking lot was kind of funny. Hey, number 26. Airlines will start charging for carry-on luggage. They charge for check luggage. Now, guess what Air Canada's doing?
Well, the other carriers are too with basic economy.
Yeah, with basic economy. Now, Air Canada says if you've got a purse, you can carry it on. Otherwise, you pay for it. And so... Now you're going to see the airlines doing everything they can to raise a couple more $1 billion out of the poor schmucks like us that are going to tug on our carry-on so we don't have to check it on. Now they're going to attack us that way. So anyway, I hope I'm wrong with that it doesn't go too wide, far and wide. Okay, number 27. Airport parking will cost more than a plane ticket. Can you believe it? Compare parking at $22 a day for a 2-week vacation. You'll spend $308. $308 for parking versus $200 for an airline ticket when they're on sale, right? So that's crazy. So what people are going to do is probably ask their friends and family to take them to the airport, or
it'll be
Uber.
cheaper to Uber, depending upon where you live and how far you are from the airport.
Well, even in Omaha, you could drive to a Walmart parking lot or a shopping mall, and then get an Uber from there, and then spend $30 on Uber, and not have the hassle. So, anyway. And Uber is so good now because you can schedule them to come.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing all the time with Uber.
Okay.
And that way you don't have to worry when you arrive. Just give yourself, some time and schedule it in there, and they'll pick you up.
And have you found that they've been reliable on that?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't done it just because I didn't know how reliable, and I didn't want to go to sleep at night thinking I was taken care of, give myself an extra 15 minutes to prepare in the morning.
I was
only to have somebody not show up.
I was in New York at a hotel. I needed to go out to LaGuardia. And I told them I wanted you here at 2 o'clock to pick me up. They were here at 1:45.
Yes.
Waiting for me on the street, ready to pick up, and I got into a nice Tesla, and it was clean and quiet, and it was actually very comfortable, and it was cheaper than a limo to take you out there. So, CarryOn Luggage will rule travel in 2025. Paul, you know me. I'm the big advocate. Never check on luggage. And I think CarryOn's going to rule because people are going to say, hey, I don't like to wait for my luggage.
It's all about time.
I don't want to lose my luggage. I want to have the flexibility if I want to jump on a later or an earlier flight. And if I check it on, I can't do that. Don't check on luggage. Carry it on in 2025. How about that? You've heard that before.
It's not the first time that's come out of your mouth.
Okay. Number 29, international business class travel is exploding. People are buying $5,000 and $6,000 and $7,000 business class.
$20,000.
$12,000 and $20,000. So once they've taken business class to Europe or to wherever, they say, I won't do it any other way.
You do have to be educated on this, though. We flew over, and on United, we booked on United both over and back, but we were traveling back on Lufthansa. The experience, the service on Lufthansa was better than the service on United, but the product itself,
the hard product,
was less than 50% of what the product was on United Airlines. So I think you have to make sure you understand what you're going to be getting, because I like my space. I like not having other people in my bubble. And on the Lufthansa flight, they were 222, and I'm taller than what the business class lay flat allows, so I've got to bend my knees to fit in there. All of a sudden, my knees are touching some other guy, and that's not what I consider a pleasant experience. So.
No, and it's not a premium experience, nor a contemporary experience.
They still had first class on that plane, though, too. So I think that's one of the things. The first class was a totally different experience than what business class was.
Well, even Emirates, which I'd love to use my points to sneak onto first class. Emirates is the old 222 or 232 in some cases in business class. And so until they revamp all their business class, that's not a very good experience. No. Hey, number 30, this is the last one of our travel predictions for this week. People want to deep dive into destinations in 2025 and not feel like a tourist. As we said, we want to slow down, and people want to not only know the restaurant, but know the owners of the restaurant. They want to know when they go into the winery, the history of the winery, the family behind the winery. They want to know and take that slowness and do a deep dive more into learning about the culture, the history, and the people of that neighborhood. And we're seeing that, so it's a different world today. They're not on this fast and furious and crazy. Every 2 hours you're in a new place. Every night you're in a new place. They want to slow down and kind of just feel it.
Yeah, we actually had a really fun experience this last trip. It was New Year's Eve, and so over in Italy, all the restaurants were closed for lunch because they were prepping for the big New Year's Eve celebrations that evening. And we were trying to go out for lunch with some friends over there, and I had never met his wife or his child, but we struck out on 10 restaurants. And so they ended up inviting us over to their house, which, going to somebody's house in a different country where you don't know what the language barriers are going to be and all that. But it was one of those experiences that there was almost anxiety, I would say, leading up to it. But coming out of it, it was some experience unlike anything we could have drawn up. So I think getting out of your comfort zone and out of your box just leads to that much more of that experience.
Great idea. This has been the 2025 travel predictions, and we thank you for joining us today. Paul's going to tell you how you can zip, boom, and bing us.
Thank you for joining us. Please like, subscribe, share, and add any comments or feedback, suggestions on future topics. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.